There comes a time when you want an omelette, but you can't make it without cracking a few eggs. You're hungry now and you gotta make the most out of what you have, and even if you drop them, you'd probably make something work. Cooking mistakes could be catastrophic or maybe even inconsequential. But like with game devs sometimes, a little bug or two slips through the cracks. And while not everything is a game-breaking calamity, gamers would always find a way to make the most out of it one way or another. Bob Ross said it best, there are no mistakes, just happy little accidents.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
And these video game bugs aren't bugs, they're features. Starting off our list, we have the iconic Goat Simulator. With a name like this and games like Power Wash Simulator, you'd think that in Goat Simulator, you'd play as a goat grazing the fields. But you couldn't be more wrong. Embracing the chaos of physics in games like Skate 3, Goat Simulator asked the question, what if I use all the glitches? And over time, it had its own personality. Now with way more sequels and spin-offs that you can count, Goat Simulator kept answering, why with why not? And the rest is Goat history. When you do the crime, you do the time, and when you think of police chases in video games, nothing does it better than Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto had come a long way, and so far it looks like we may be getting Grand Theft Auto 6 later this year. But did you know the aggression from the police and even the franchise as a whole was actually a glitch? So a bit of a history lesson is in order, but when DMA Design was working on an action game called Race and Chase, there were cops and robbers with players having a role as either. But a bug was present making the CPU cops more aggressive than they should have been. Playtesters enjoyed this, and this eventually led to the first version of Grand Theft Auto we all know and love. Everybody knows about Minecraft, and heck, it even had a movie a while back featuring Jack Black. But would you believe that one of the most iconic characters or icons in the game was just a glitch turned green? Everybody's done it one way or another, but when you swap length and width, you go from something thick and short to something thin and lanky. And would you believe it? That the creeper was that tall and lanky figure. Minecraft's original developer Notch found it comically scary, slapped some green on it, and made it attack players. And the rest, like your first house in Minecraft, is history. Tell me, but what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of fighting games? That's right, it's combos. In this day and age, seeing a fighting game without combos is like a bicycle without wheels. Technically, you could make it work, but it just feels so weird imagining it, and this was all because of Street Fighter 2. During its initial development, the Street Fighter 2 team saw that by tapping another input while one was happening, you could chain attacks, leaving the opponent stunned. But while they just left it in thinking it was difficult to do, it wasn't as hard as they thought it could have been. These days, combos make fighting games what they are, and everyone could do them. First-person shooters have come far from how they initially started out, and no technique, especially for boomer shooters, is as legendary as the rocket jump. In real life, it's kinda dumb to even think about shooting your foot and hoping it'd propel you like some wacky Looney Tunes cartoon, but Quake made that more widespread. Jumping is cool and all, but being propelled by a rocket or grenaded transcends all logic, just letting you break the limits and reach new heights, literally and figuratively. While the concept was floating around for a while, Quake's what really made it more noticeable in gaming. For all the uncles out there, this one's for you. Back then, early FPS game engines like Early Source and Quake engines would involve calculations for velocity and friction. When it comes to velocity and friction though, you carry those things but get slowed down when you're in contact with the surface. How do you get around this? You bunny hop or bee hop. If Looney Tunes logic was followed, you just needed to keep jumping while moving, and you'd carry that speed with you since you weren't slowing down. And till this day, bee hopping is used as a high-level technique with the current day first-person shooters like with Apex Legends. Playground myths are a lost art in this day and age, especially with the prevalence of the internet and how widespread information could be. But while it's a bit of a stretch to include for this list, missing no from the original Pokemon Red and Blue is one we need to talk about. It's a glitch Pokemon that could turn into any Pokemon, duplicate items, and the fact that it's even replicable in the recent Pokemon Blue and Red ports for the Switch means it's a feature now at this point. Definitely a cultural icon for Gen 1 Pokemon fans. Missing No was actually part of the cut Pokemon content in Gen 1, with it originally having 190 Pokemon instead of the 151 we know today, with 2 of the cut Pokemon appearing in Gen 2. It's still somewhat of a mystery till this day, but the legend it brought with it to the school playground is something else. Inspiration could strike at any given moment, and while it wasn't necessarily a bug, janky mechanics could eventually be their own feature, and no class exemplifies this better than the spy from Team Fortress. For context, when you play Team Fortress, you need to select a class per round, but down the line, there was this visual quirk where sometimes a color or name glitch would let players appear as enemies, causing chaos without them knowing. Think about it this way, the spy was sus way before Among Us, and blending into the surroundings like a chameleon or a spy was inspired moment. Get it? An oldie but a goodie, the Civilization series had players playing politics against historical figures across different points in time. It had Genghis Khan, Shaka Zulu, Cleopatra, and more, with even the friendliest, most pacifistic figures out there like Gandhi pointing nukes at you? I kid you not that always confused me growing up, but apparently, Gandhi is so friendly that his aggression level was at 1. But because of an overflow glitch, being peaceful brought it all the way up to 255, leading to nuclear Gandhi. While it was a joke at the time, it's one of those jokes that the community loved so much that it's still included when Gandhi's there. While not as famous as the other bugs and glitches in this list, we gotta talk about what inspired it, which was the focused aerial roll in Crimson Desert. Early on in the game's lifespan, traversal is a bit of a problem for open world games, but in Crimson Desert's case, eager fans were able to find a way to zoom in the air with the developers taking notice. They removed the bug but brought it back shortly after as the focused aerial roll, and no cap, Bernabes is just goated for that. Bugs always come out in development, but whether it be an accident or not, they could just be features in the making. It was fun talking about bugs turning into features, but let's talk about you. What are your favorite bugs turned into features in video games? Let us know in the comments below. For more content like this and other updates down the line, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.